Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. Well, for the first time in the storied history of the channel, I'm doing my seasonal TBR not only on time, but even a wee bit early. So in the past, I've been a few weeks late usually doing my seasonal TBR. I try to do 4 TBRs a year just to give you guys some sense of what I'm doing on the channel and where I'm going, that sort of thing. So this is the summer one. I am so organized this time. I'm going to try to do this sort of thing in the future, be organized. So at least I'm not as bad as some other channels, like maybe ones that do their winter book hauls in May or whatever it was. Oh, sorry, Alan. But anyway, yes, I am doing my summer TBR now, and I'm just a little bit early. We are going to be coming on summer very soon, and right now, the first book I want to mention today is Stone Wielder. This is what I'm reading right now. I'm getting towards the end of it, and actually I will be reviewing it along with my good friend AP Canavan right before summer starts. So this is what I'm up to right now. We're doing Stone Wielder. This is book 3 of Ian Esselmont's novels of the Malazan Empire. It's part of my Malazan read that I'm doing with AP, so we'll be discussing this one. As usual, the spoiler-free video will be on my channel, and the spoiler-filled video will be on AP's channel, A Critical Dragon, so make sure to check that out. And after that, I will be reading Stephen King's The Wastelands. This is book 3 of the Dark Tower series. And I also have, in addition to reviewing this one on my own, I have a very exciting discussion lined up towards the end of this month. So some fellow booktubers and I are going to be discussing the Dark Tower series, the first 3 books anyway. So I'm really excited for that. There's some really great booktubers that I'm going to be talking with, and so more on that later. But I'm also very excited to continue in the Dark Tower series. The first 2 books in this series really blew me away, and I enjoyed them very much. And then, speaking of Malazan stuff, I'm going to be finishing up the Bocek and Karbal Brooch short story, novella collection. These stories or novellas have been collected into 2 batches here. This is the second one. I did read the first 3 novellas along with AP Canavan and Ruth and Bad, and we are going to repeat that feat. We are going to be reading the second collection of novellas. And I also want to thank Alan. Speaking of Alan, speak of the devil, Alan was nice enough to send me this book. He had an extra copy. So thank you, Alan, for that. Appreciate that. So yeah, I'm going to be reading these 3 stories that are contained in here, the 3 novellas, and discussing them with AP and with Ruth and Bad. And that is going to be a whole lot of fun, especially because one of these, Cracked Pot Trail, it has a character in it that is based on a certain critic with whom I will be speaking. So yes, you heard it right. There's a character in the story Cracked Pot Trail that is Steven Erikson actually based on AP Canavan. So that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about, and I think he's going to be hosting that particular discussion on Cracked Pot Trail. I'll be hosting one of the other ones. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Ruth and Bad and I are going to have a good time teasing AP about that character in that story. And continuing with the Malazan stuff, I am going to be reading The Bone Hunters. This is the 6th book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So AP Canavan and I are halfway through our read of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and Bone Hunters is up next. This is I'm giving myself a couple weeks for the Bone Hunters. And actually every Malazan book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, from 6 to the end, those are bigger books. So you definitely need to give myself some time to finish this big fella right here. So yeah, but I am so excited to be reading it. This read has been so much fun, and I'm really excited to be getting to the last half of the series. And this is a lot of fun too. As many of you know, if you've been following the channel, I had the privilege to participate in a read-along of John Gwynn's The Faithful and the Fallen. And that was something that I did along with Alex Nieves and Abby Salter and Patrick Leo and Alan from the Library of Alexandria. And so we are going to repeat that, only with Gwynn's next series in the Banished Lands, the trilogy of Blood and Bone, and this begins with A Time of Dread. So this is something that is going to be slated for early next month. That is to say, early July. So I am looking forward very much to reading A Time of Dread, which takes place 100 or 150 years after The Faithful and the Fallen ends. So very excited for that. And to get together with those people again, just a lot of fun. So the next thing I want to do is Dreams of the Dying by Nicholas Litzau. And this is a book that was recommended to me by Patrick Leo, and the author, Nicholas Litzau, was kind enough to send me a copy to review. And this is part of my effort to include self-published and indie press books on the channel. I want to do more of that sort of thing. I began that process earlier by reading and reviewing Richard Nell's The Kings of Paradise, the first book in Ash and Sand, the Ash and Sand trilogy. And I also had a great discussion with Richard Nell. That was a lot of fun. Learned a lot of things about self-publishing, about the publishing world, and we also talked about Kings of Paradise. So that was a lot of fun. So I want to continue doing that sort of thing. I want to help promote these authors who are writing great books, and they just don't have the ability to market themselves the same way that the traditional publishers would do. So I think that's something we can do here on BookTube. We can help deserving authors to have a bit of a louder voice and help them be discovered by readers like you guys. So I'm looking forward to reading Dreams of the Dying very much. And I will be continuing with my read of Novels of the Malazan Empire by Ian Esselmont. And the next one up will be Orbscepter Throne. So this is going to be the one for July, probably late July. And I am very, very happy to be reading these. By the way, also, I am hoping that AP and I will have another chance to talk with the author Ian Esselmont fairly soon about our read of Novels of the Malazan Empire. So that should be very fun. I'm hoping that will be able to happen. It looks like it probably will. So that's very exciting. We did have the chance to talk with him when we started our read of Novels of the Malazan Empire. When we did Night of Knives, we shared that discussion with Ian Esselmont. It was a lot of fun. So definitely looking forward to continuing that series. Here's one that I've been talking about forever, and it keeps getting bumped to the next TBR, but I have it scheduled for the very end of July. I have a day for it, so I'm going to do it. And it is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. A lot of people love this book. I know some of my friends on BookTube do not, but the majority do, and so I am curious to see where I will come down on this. I've heard a lot of great things about it, and the setting particularly intrigues me. So, and I believe that Evan Winter started as a self-published author as well. So, yeah, so I'm really happy to be finally getting to this at the end of July. I have this scheduled, so I cannot possibly postpone it again. So, other books ready for July include Reaper's Gale. So this is, again, continuing with the Malazan read. This is the 7th book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And I have read this before, but this reread has been just so much fun. And I've gotten so much out of doing this, particularly with AP, and also interacting with all of you, because the first time I read the Malazan Book of the Fallen, I was on my own, and I didn't know about BookTube. And now that I know about it, boy, am I enjoying it and learning a lot about these things. So that was the whole purpose. Another book that I want to read, and probably in August, I wanted to do it in July, but I think it's going to be in August, is, speaking of fellow booktubers, this is called It Stings, and it's by Miles Binding, and he is a booktuber. And I had a chance to talk to Miles at one point a little while back about the history of the fantasy genre. That's a video that appears on his channel. So his channel is called, I believe it's called Miles Binding. But I'm looking forward to reading his book. It's a mixture of poems and prose. So it looks very intriguing. It's a really cool cover there. I hope you can see that. But I am looking forward to reading It Stings. It's a nice title too. I like that. Very intriguing. And continuing with the John Gwynne read-along with my fellow booktubers, the next book in the Blood and Bone trilogy, A Time of Blood. So that will be, I hope, in August, probably toward the end of August. So yeah, that's going to be fun, especially talking to those guys. And it's funny, they have very similar titles. This is the next book in Ian Esselmont's novels of the Malazan Empire, Blood and Bone. Not to be confused with Of Blood and Bone, the trilogy by John Gwynne. This is Blood and Bone, not to be confused with Children of Blood and Bone, which is a totally different thing by Tomi Adeyemi, which I have read as well, and it's a great YA book. But anyway, I'm not reading that now. I am reading Ian Esselmont's Blood and Bone, and that is going to be the end of August read for novels of the Malazan Empire. So and that'll be the second to last one. The last one will probably be in September or so. Or maybe early October. Another one that I keep kicking down the road, and I'm gonna stop, and I have it scheduled, and that is The City of Brass, and by S.A. Chakraborty. Lots of people love this book. I am another one that I'm interested because of the setting, and I've heard some good things about it. So I really want to check out this series or trilogy, I think. And so I have scheduled it. It is on the schedule for the very beginning of September. I'm going to do it. I am committed to reading The City of Brass. It's really tough to fit in all the books that I'm not doing read-alongs with. The Malazan stuff is definitely first priority, and the John Gwynne stuff, I've been doing the read-alongs and stuff, so I have to keep up with those because it's that pressure of I'm going to be talking with people about these. So squeezing in the other stuff has been a challenge, but there's so many series. I'm reading too many series at once, and that's part of the problem. But that's a nice problem, I think. So speaking of too many series that I'm reading at once, I'm going to be continuing with the Dresden Files, and I will be reading Summer Night in early-ish September. And this is a series, the Dresden Files, that I have actually enjoyed immensely. It's just a matter of squeezing it in between all the other stuff that I'm reading, and particularly the stuff that I'm doing the read-alongs. But I love this series so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing with it. I have scheduled it for early September, the next one. And hopefully I'll be able to increase the pace a little bit on those types of series, like the Dresden Files and the Witcher books and the Stephen King Dark Tower series. I want to increase the pace. Eventually, I'm going to finish the Malazan read-along, although AP and I are going to do another series. We've been talking about what we should do there, so we shall see. But Robin Hobb has come up, and I think that would be a lot of fun to do The Realm of the Elderlings with AP. And we also are talking about David Gemmell. I have not read Gemmell yet, and he's been pestering me to read, along with a lot of other people, some Gemmell. And I actually totally intend to read Gemmell anyway, so that would be a lot of fun to talk about that. Precursor to Grimdark with AP. But yeah, we're going to do something fun when we finish the Malazan books, for sure. And speaking of Malazan books, the next one will be Told Hounds, and that's going to be in September. Shortly before fall, mid-ish September. So, and yes, I have a hardcover that is missing the dust jacket. Sorry about that. Yeah, someday I'm gonna buy a matching set of Malazan books. That's a goal someday. But these served me really well the first time around, and they'll serve me well again, I think. So, yep, that's the September one, and then I shall finish A Time of Courage, which is the third book in Of Blood and Bone by John Gwynne in September. And I mentioned the series that I've been squeezing in here and there, and the Witcher book's definitely one of those. But I will be reading the first proper novel in the Witcher books. So the series proper, which begins with Blood of Elves. So I read the first two, the short story collections by Sapkowski, and I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the character development in there. So I do intend to give the novels a try, and so that will be probably in late-ish September. That's the goal, anyway. So that's it for now for my TBR. That should give you guys a pretty good idea of what I'm up to. I can squeeze in usually about a book a week, and that seems to be my limit. During the semesters, I am, of course, teaching, so I don't have much more time than just one fun book a week. And during the summers, I'm writing. So again, I have time to squeeze in about one a week. So that's what I'm planning for. And hopefully it all works out. And yeah, so I hope you will join me as I review and discuss these books. It's just been so much fun talking with other booktubers, talking with you guys in the comments about the books. And I'm having a blast pursuing my quest to find the greatest fantasy out there. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon.